Let's talk about how to make you a great shooter of the basketball. The first thing you need to do when you walk into a gym is look at the rim and fall in love with the rim. This is what one of my teachers told me, and it's really great advice. You know how you have certain courts, certain rims you shoot well on? You just look at the rim and you feel more confident. Maybe it's the court you practiced on growing up. Maybe it's your local YMCA. Maybe it's some park you shoot at. You just feel comfortable and confident there. You want to develop that relationship with every rim that you see. So as soon as you walk in a gym, the first thing to do is start imagining swishes going through that rim and just developing a quick love at first sight relationship with the rim. I know it sounds corny, but you essentially are trying to instill confidence in this rim. You're trying to instill confidence in yourself and confidence that you shoot well on this hoop. So you want to develop this love at first sight thing. You don't have to tell anybody you're doing it. I know it's kind of corny, but it really does work. Sometimes in my mind, I would imagine the rim I liked most kind of morphing over top of the rim I was shooting on, kind of merging the two. So I would have the feeling of the rim I practiced on with the rim that I was going to play a game on. And, you know, when you play in high school and college, it's not like the NBA where every hoop's the same. You're going to go to gyms with different rims, different hoops, different backboards, etc. So I just wanted to have that feeling. And you start to get the feeling just by walking around the hoop and watching in your mind a ball swish through it. Just see a bunch of swishes. That's it. You do this for 30, 60 seconds. It's a real quick thing. But when you go to shoot, this is the first thing you want to do. And you even want to do it when you're practicing on a hoop you really like. Just take 30, 60 seconds, see a bunch of swishes. Start to develop a relationship with that rim. Second, the first thing you want to do when you wake up in the morning. Now, longtime Basketball Brain subscribers and members to the program, they know this stuff, but it's always a good review. The first thing you want to do when you wake up in the morning is immediately close your eyes again and visualize a bunch of swishes. Swish, swish, swish. See the ball drop through the center of the hoop over and over again. See it from the corner, see it from the wing, see it from the top of the key. Just see swishes. You don't have to visualize your form yet. Just visualize swishes, okay? Do this for about 100 or 200 times. If you do it for about 200 times, you're going to start to feel this like good energy pulsing through you, because the energy of a swish, well, it just feels great. The energy of a swish just feels fantastic. So that's what I want you to do when you first wake up. This takes about 90 seconds. Like in my mind right now, I'm going swish, swish, swish. So you can do about one a second. So you could do, if you do 120, it takes about 2 minutes. You can even go a little faster if you want to, but just see and feel the swish. You know the feeling you get when you have a swish? Do that. What you're doing is you're flooding the subconscious mind. You're saying to the subconscious mind, this is the feeling I want to have. Subconscious mind just takes instructions. If you have no feeling, it's kind of guessing. If you give it a good feeling, it says, oh, okay, he wants or she wants swishes. So we're going to help him produce that. This is how you start to make your shot automatic. This is how you start to get in the zone. You're just flooding your mind with swishes. Right after you do that, take about 4 to 5 minutes and just visualize yourself hitting shots in a game from the first person and the third person. Make it as realistic as possible. You know, when you watch a movie, or better yet, when you read a good book and you feel like you're there when you're reading the book, it's typically because they integrate all of your senses. They're talking about what the character's hearing, what the character's seeing, smelling, the touch, the taste, all of that. And it creates a real three-dimensional environment for your mind. It's like a dream that's really vivid. If you've ever had a really vivid dream and you wake up and you go, God, I thought that was real. When you visualize, that's the type of feeling you want to have. So hear the crowd, hear the referees, hear the sneakers squeaking, hear the ball bouncing, feel the ball if you're in the first person, feel your jersey on you. Just set the scene. Just like in a movie, they kind of set the scene in your mind, and then see yourself hitting shots. I like to do this, seeing myself hitting shots in crunch time. I always like to see myself hitting game winners. I figure if I can hit game winners, shooting at the beginning of the game's going to be easy. If I can shoot under pressure and I see myself shooting under pressure, then the rest of the game kind of takes care of itself. And I always tell players this: if you want to be clutch, every day visualize yourself. Let's say 10 times a day you visualize yourself hitting a variety of game winners. Well, at the end of the year, if you did it 10 times a day, that's 3,650 times a year. You've seen yourself and you've made it realistic, hit a game winner. And what happens when you're in a pressure situation, the subconscious mind goes, oh, I know what this feels like and I feel at home. Imagine if you did that 100 times a day. The probability that you are good in crunch time goes through the roof. And make sure you see yourself hitting free throws, hitting layups, 3-pointers, off the dribble, catch and shoot. And you just do this really quick. It's kind of like a bunch of GIFs in your mind. A GIF, is those little short looped videos. And you want to feel like you hit the game winner. You want to feel the pressure and you want to see yourself succeed. So that's what I do every single morning when I was a serious player. 100, 200 mental swishes, then see myself dominating in crunch time from the first person, like inside your body. Certain video games you play from the first person. See yourself making shots from that, or feel yourself making shots from that perspective. Then switch to the third person. See yourself from the stands, and you can even see yourself like you're actually playing a video game character. So that's a really great way. First thing in the morning, it takes about 5-6 minutes to start to program your mind for success. It's really that simple. The next thing I want to talk about what you do when you're on the court. And this is a method that has really helped a lot of players shoot better. We're going to start training your mind how to concentrate. We're going to start showing your subconscious mind exactly what you want to have happen. So when you're on the court for about 100 to 200 shots, what I want you to do is this. It's called the lock, arc, swish method. Okay? I've made this a variation of another tool that a basketball psychologist made, because I found that if you change the words here, it's much more potent. Let me explain. What you want to do when you shoot is you want to say lock when your eyes lock on the hoop. So when you say lock, you're going to say this out loud. If you're by yourself, say it out loud. If you don't want to do it with people around, at least say it mentally. When your eyes lock on the hoop, okay, this is a signal to your subconscious mind that this means concentration. So I tell basketball players to aim for the center of the hoop. Now, what's interesting is you can't actually see the center of the hoop, but the mind's eye can see the center of the hoop. So what I want you to do in your mind, see the center of the hoop. And when I told you earlier, when you're walking around watching swishes, you get in the gym and you kind of visualize swishes, see the center of the hoop. So you walk around and you see the center of the hoop and you just visualize swishes coming in. But when you're actually shooting, I want you to say lock. And when you say lock, your eyes lock onto the center of the hoop. Now, if somebody were to tackle you, somebody were to punch you in the stomach, guess where your eyes go? They don't go anywhere. They're locked on the center of the hoop. So as you shoot, as soon as your eyes lock on the rim, you say lock. Now, as you shoot, as the ball's going through the air, you say arc, but you hold the word arc. You go lock, arc, swish when the ball goes in. You're starting to program your subconscious mind that when my eyes lock on the target, I want good arc and I want to swish. Now, if you have a flat shot, you'll find if you start saying arc just a little longer, you'll start to get better arc. So it's lock, arc, swish. And I would do this for at least 100, 150 shots. You can do it at the beginning. You can do it maybe after you warm up when you're actually taking real shots. Might be good to do that. I typically did it with some form shots, some free throws, and then game speed shots. But 100, 150 shots to program your subconscious mind that when I say lock, I want my eyes. I don't want to have to think about this. This is what you're saying to your mind. You're giving it a verbal command. When I say lock, I'm telling you, in a game, I want my eyes to lock on the hoop and not leave. And I want you to run this program, and I don't want to think about it. I want to be unconscious. Subconscious, you're in control. But to give the subconscious control, we have to give it some conscious information, some conscious rules that it has to follow. So lock, arc, swish. And I know what you're saying. What do you do when you miss? When you miss, I want you to see a clear white wall, almost like it's blotted out of existence. If you miss a shot, white wall, or just a white space, and you say clear, right? Clear or delete. A lot of people say delete. So it's lock, arc, and then you say clear. It takes a split second. And then what do? You replace it with a mental swish. You replay the shot really quickly and just see the ball swish through and get that feeling of a swish. I used to tell people at the end of my shooting sessions, they'd say, how well did you shoot today? I said, I didn't miss. And I wasn't being snarky or anything. I was just, in my mind, I had erased the miss because I'm just programming the subconscious mind. All I want is makes. I just want you to feel that. That's what we're after. We're trying to increase shooting percentage. We're trying to increase the probability of crunch time performance. Okay? So you just keep replacing the miss with a swish. And do this for 150, maybe even 200 shots when you're warming up and some at game speed. And then you don't have to do this for every shot. Then you can just practice. Now, about physical reps. If you're a serious basketball player and you want to be great, you're looking at 500 to 800 shots a day. I think when you start getting past 800, you're overdoing it in my personal experience. 500 to 800, that would include layups, that includes form shots, that includes free throws. But then the bulk of your shots, maybe 75%, need to be game speed. They need to incorporate game drills. Okay, so I'm not saying all you can do is train your mind and you're good to go. No, it requires a lot of physical work too, but when you couple the mental and the physical, watch out. You're a force to be reckoned with. Now, I want to say something else about when you're physically shooting these shots. There's also mental training after you do the lock arc swish. It's very simple to do and you've all done it. You know, when you're in the driveway and go 3, 2, 1, when you're a kid, you know, it's the NBA Finals, Game 7. Well, when you're practicing, okay, what I want you to do is imagine that you're in a game. Just in your mind, just the way they set the scene in a movie. Pretend there's people in the stands, pretend your haters are there, pretend the people who adore you are there, pretend there's just random people there, that there's referees you don't know, that there's opponents. And if you don't really have an opponent, just imagine the best defender you ever played against. So then you become mindful of where the ball is. And if you were to watch me practice when I used to play, like if you watch me shoot by myself, it's like, what's going on? You know, it's because I had a ghost in front of me, so to speak. There were great defenders guarding me. And it really helped me because when I got in the game, my subconscious said, okay, I know that I'm playing against a really tough defender and I'm comfortable in that situation because we visualized it so much when we were on the court. And it just takes setting the scene. You've probably done it already. You know, you're out there shooting by yourself and you're imagining somebody's guarding you and you go a little harder. You're a little more precise, but make it as realistic as possible. Think after you do a move, was that ball exposed? Really, could the defender have gotten to that? So you make it more real. If you had two guys, you say you have one guy at one end of the court and another guy at the other end of the court, and they're both shooting the same shots, doing the same workout, it looks like they're doing the same thing. But if one of the guys is mentally visualizing it's a real game, he's getting so much more out of it. He's going to be the better player. So when you're actually shooting, make it real. Pretend you're in a game. It's so vital to do that. You'll notice you move a little quicker, right? Hear the crowd, feel somebody jumping at you. And of course, if you can, get somebody to guard you. That's the best. But a lot of times when we're practicing, we're by ourselves. You don't have to do it for every shot, but when you're in your game speed shots, make sure you're making it real. When you're shooting free throws, make sure you pretend like you're in the game. Just takes a second. Just pretend there are people on the block while you shoot. There are fans behind the goal, fans in the bleachers. That there's that sound when somebody checks in the game. Just hear it really quick. Hear the whistle. Just set the scene because we're trying to flood our subconscious mind. Now, if you do all of this, you're going to be a great shooter. If you do your mental swishes in the morning, if you then visualize hitting game winners, if you use the lock arc swish method for your first 100, 150, 200 shots, and then you go game speed and set the scene in your mind, watch out. You're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And listen, I'm telling you, 500 to 800 shots is what you have to do every day. It's closer to the 500 end if you don't have a rebounder. I'd say it's closer to the 700-800 end if you do have somebody to rebound for you. I don't recommend working out with partners because I think it's better that you just get your shots up as fast as possible without rebounding. You work in your ball handling and all your skills, your dribbling skills while you're doing your shooting. You know, you can do a figure 8 dribbling drill and then hit a shot just to keep getting shots up and to transition from dribbling to shooting. You can work in your conditioning into the shooting, so you shoot when you're tired. So if you do this, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I want to make a few more points. When you get tired towards the end of your workout, it's very important that you keep your form. Even if you're missing, keep your form. Over time, if you keep your form when you're tired, you're going to hit shots in crunch time. You want to make sure you keep your form even if you're tired. And they might come up short, so just be aware of that. The point isn't to change your form to make the shot. It's to keep your form and get stronger as you work out more and more, as you gain more endurance. Keep your form. The other thing I'll say, people say put your legs into it when you're shooting short. Really what you want to focus on is your overall body tempo. You've probably slowed down a little bit. It's not so much you're not using your legs, you've lost a little tempo. So something you can do is just speed up just a little bit. You'll notice you might be at a 6.5, as when you're shooting well, you're at like a 7.5. So if you just change your overall body tempo to like a feeling of a 7.5, that's a really great way to start to recover from a shooting slump. A lot of the time it's not mechanical, it's more tempo based. Keep that in mind. And the last thing I'll say, throughout the day, you can also just hit some game winners in your mind. When you're driving around listening to music, you can just listen to music and chill, of course. Maybe take a few minutes and hit some game winners. When you watch YouTube, if you see Steph Curry hit a three or Kyrie make a move and hit a fadeaway, pause it for a second after you watch it, throw yourself in their body, pretend you're in Steph's body. When Steph does a crossover, you can feel what a crossover feels like. Feel like you're Steph and hit the three. Feel like you're Kyrie doing his moves, hit the fadeaway. As you watch highlights, you can kind of throw yourself into the bodies of the players you're watching and feel the moves. So you're getting more out of highlights than you normally would. Now, if you do all of this, again, you're going to be a great player. Listen, you're obsessed with basketball, I assume. So why not be as productive as possible, working on your game? Anyways, I think if you do this, you're going to be one of the best shooters in your area. And honestly, you're going to be in the top like 3%, 1% in the entire world. The only real caveat here, and it's a pretty big caveat, you've got to have decent form. Okay? You've just got to have decent form. When you have decent form and you put this work in, you're unstoppable. You're going to be a fantastic basketball player. You're going to be a scorer. You're going to be a shooter. People are going to respect you, and a lot of people are probably going to fear you. So this is how you become a great shooter. You really don't need to do anything else. And actually, becoming a great shooter is like a part-time job. A great player, because you're going to work in your dribbling and everything as well, and conditioning. It's like 3.5 hours a day of work, maybe. It's like a very minimal amount of work, actually. It's a part-time job to become really, really good at basketball. You can't do much more than 3-4 hours. You can add some lifting in, some film watching after that. You probably get up to 5, maybe 6. But even Kobe only worked out 6 hours a day, right? So there's a limit to how much you do and where you get diminishing returns, and then you actually start hurting yourself. So a part-time job, like if you put 3 hours of focused work in, not bullshit work, focused work, I mean, you can transform yourself in like a few months. Like doing this for 3 to 6 months, you'll become a completely different player. But of course, most people won't do it because it requires consistency. It requires an extreme amount of dedication and sacrifice. So that's my lesson on how to become a great shooter. Check out basketballbrain.com for the full program, and also check out my vertical jump program at boingvert.com. If you get Hummingbird, the vertical jump program at Boingvert, you get Basketball Brain included free. Peace, guys.